Hello, everyone. Good morning. We have been practicing and writing and rewriting and practicing with our speeches, and these kids have done such a great job. We've been doing lots of run-throughs, so we're very excited, and I'm very excited for you to hear all that they have to say about Greenwood Elementary and their time that they've spent here. So without further ado, we're gonna begin. And first up, we have Smirty. Hang on a second. Before we begin, if you could please make sure that you are muted. I thought I had everyone muted from the beginning, but if not, that would be really wonderful.
Hello.
Oh, hi. I'm gonna go through and just mute everyone. Let's see. Yep. All right, there we go. Hang on one second, Smirty. I know you're anxious. There we go.
Have you ever felt like you can do something and you just want to give up? Well, don't give up. A time in Greenwood, I wanted to give up was when I had to write a rough draft for this speech. I didn't know what to write, what to say, but I worked hard and never gave up. My rough draft turned into something beautiful. My time at Greenwood has been a rainbow. Just like how a rainbow needs sunshine, rain, and a good environment, Greenwood gave me a good environment with teachers, students, and playgrounds. And since I had this good environment to learn, I learned at school and in life, you'll face many challenges and you'll make many mistakes. But the best thing to do is learn from your mistakes and keep moving forward. Taking that into account, through middle school, high school, and college, I will remember to face my problems and not get down about not knowing something, but instead think, I'll be learning something new today. One quote what I'd like to remember is, "If you find a path and no obstacles, it probably doesn't lead anywhere," by Frank A. Clark. I think this quote means, if you always take the easy path, you'll never feel success. This quote taught me, going forward, there will always be ups and downs. And if we keep avoiding these problems, we're just putting more of a burden on ourselves. One teacher that taught me to be me and love myself is my art teacher, Miss Jocelyn. What I enjoyed most about Miss Jocelyn is her upbeat and positive attitude that kept us going through the day. One thing I'd like to remember from her classroom is the good vibe she brought into the room. Thank you, Miss Jocelyn, for the joy you brought us since the minute we stepped into your classroom. I've had many times in Greenwood I've thought I'd never get the task completed, but I've never thrown the towel, and I pushed through the bad times and turned them around to good times. I've decided from now till forever, I'm never giving up.
My time at Greenwood was like a movie. It was long, exciting, and there were a lot of twists and turns. It was like each grade was a different part in the movie. Each grade had its moments where it was exciting and got your heart racing, and moments where it was emotional. The last day of fourth grade was hard and sad. That was all because of my fourth grade teacher, Miss Warden. She was the best teacher I've ever had. She always believed in kindness and fairness. She always taught us in a fun and positive way. She showed us funny videos during class and would always teach the most interesting things. She made me want to come to school. She encouraged me to keep reading so I could complete the 40 book challenge. She made me keep going no matter what. I made so many good memories with Miss Warden. That year in fourth grade was the time I realized nothing was just going to be handed to you. You had to work hard for it. I realized you had to work hard. I learned that school might not be your favorite, but if you don't do anything in school, it'll only get harder. You might wake up and have a bad morning, but that you can't let that affect your learning. If you work hard, you might get an amazing result. In third grade, I got my result. After working hard, we got to go on a snow tubing field trip. This was my favorite memory at Greenwood. Once we got there, I didn't want to leave. The hills were so steep and you would go so fast. You even got to go with your friends. It was amazing. Now I'm off to middle school. My 7 years at Greenwood have gone by so fast. It has only felt like a couple months. I have made so many friends and so many memories, and I'm forever grateful for all the work my teachers have put in to teach me. I'm finally ready to start the next chapter of my life.
Success is no accident. It is hard work, perseverance, learning, studying, sacrifice, and most of all, love of what you are doing. This is a quote by famous soccer player Pele, and I used this quote in the 3rd grade. I didn't understand a few sections, but using Pele's quote, I was able to overcome all the obstacles. I love basketball, and to me, Greenwood is like a shot. Just like a shot starts out as a release, my time at Greenwood started in the 3rd grade when I had just moved from my old school, Basswood Elementary. My first year had a lot of mishaps, and often the shot didn't go in. But the teachers encouraged me to keep going, and with their help, I was able to turn all those misses into swishes, just like how a release turns into a shot. The theme is success is no accident. It is hard work, perseverance, learning, studying, sacrifice, and most of all, love of what you are doing. This applies to me because when I work hard and put my best foot forward, I am able to be successful in any challenge. For example, one time I didn't know how to do a math section, but I studied hard, persevered, and soon enough, I mastered that math. I would also like to highlight some teachers, such as Mrs. Adams and Mr. Wen. They always pushed us to be the best we could be. They were also both really supportive and encouraging. What I liked about Mrs. Adams was her personality. She was bubbly, supportive, and encouraging. What I liked about Mr. Wine was his humor. He always made classes fun. My speech is slowly coming to an end, and throughout it all, I hope you noticed something. I had to work very hard in order to achieve all the goals listed in the speech. I have mixed feelings about leaving Greenwood, but mostly I am happy about going to middle school. I would like to be remembered as kind and supportive. I will never forget Greenwood.
Don't count the days, make the days count was a quote by Muhammad Ali that I learned when I started my time at Greenwood, and that I didn't even more interactive with work than wondering how much longer until I didn't have to do any work. A life lesson I also learned at Greenwood was that my ears needed to be open whenever words were spoken, so I got enough info on what to do. So either something good happens or something bad happens, just like baseball. But the main reason I think I had so much fun in my 3rd grade class was because I went on a field trip with all my friends and teachers to a giant sledding hill where whenever you said launch, you would go down at 30 miles an hour. And whenever you got to the bottom, you would get brought right back up by an escalator or an elevator that would bring you and your tube back up. But after about an hour, I had to go eat lunch, and then I returned right back to it. My favorite specialist teacher was Miss Jocelyn because whenever I finished my work, I got the option to either clean the room with my friend Kellen, or decided to get more lessons on how to make my artist style better. It was so fun with all my time at Greenwood for my 7 years of showing up every day for almost the full day. All the inspiration that happened in the first few years of my time at Greenwood made me wanted to try hard throughout the whole years that I went to. It was so fun meeting all these friends and teachers, and hopefully in the future we will see each other again, and hopefully we can talk to each other in the meantime.
Go with the flow. Let life surprise you. One time, my friend Zara yelled in my ear in the cafeteria. I obviously had to get back at her. Instead of whispering, I actually yelled. This was by accident. But I got in trouble with Zara, of course. The teacher was like, since you yelled, you were staying inside, both of you. Luckily, the teacher let us some slack this time. I kind of had a sour feeling after that. But then I learned you have to go along with the flow. It's my time to leave the school. I'll miss the school a lot, specifically the recesses, the teachers, and the posters. My time at Greenwood was like an old light bulb turning off and on. Sometimes Greenwood had valuable times that brighten up your day. The field trip days were so joyful because we would barely do math or language arts. But not all days were good. There was a time where my friends argued. I guess you have to go along with the flow. Sometimes it's unpredictable when the light bulb goes off and on. Just like Greenwood has hard times and good times. Speaking of hard times and good times, Greenwood has taught me 2 very important life lessons. The first lesson is test-taking strategies. I learned this in health. This will help me when I'm taking a test. When I'm anxious about taking a test, I can use this strategy to calm myself down. The second one is to never give up. Sometimes things are hard, but you have to keep on pushing through. I'm going to middle school. There are some exciting things and scary things about middle school. I'm excited because we'd be able to make new friends. Secondly, we can go to different classes, not the same class for 7 hours. But I'm also scared about my locker getting jammed. I have to go to middle school. There's no way to get around it. I'm a little scared and happy too, but I know that I'm not alone. Many other fifth graders are graduating too. I'll miss all the teachers in Greenwood, but I want to say a special thank you to Miss Warden and Mr. Zita. I can remember in fourth grade loving to go to school just because of Miss Warden. She'd make funny jokes and let us have hot cocoa and gum Friday. Second grade was a very hard year. That was because COVID hit. Mr. Zita helped us get through it. Thank you, Miss Warden and Mr. Zita. Sometimes you have to keep on going. Life is hard, especially leaving a school you loved so much, but you can get around it. Don't sob around. All you have to do is look up to your future.
My time at Greenwood was like NASA sending space shuttles to the moon. I may have had some failures, but I still got through with it. And when NASA finally landed the first man on the moon, for me personally, it felt the same when the school year was almost over. But then came the bad news. No more shuttles were going to be launched from NASA. It was all going to SpaceX and Elon Musk. That's what I felt like when I knew I was going to middle school next year, with all the classes, lockers, or just a new life. So I didn't really want that, so I thought of a quote. Don't tell me the sky's the limit when there's footprints on them. That quote was by Paul Brent. It means to reach for the stars or to work hard to achieve something, even though it might be difficult. I like this quote a lot because it makes me feel like I can do anything. Maybe the one good thing about middle school is that I'll meet a lot of new people and a lot of new friends. One person I'll miss at Miss Greenwood is Miss Jocelyn. Miss Jocelyn teaches art, which was my favorite subject. The reason why I love art so much is because you can express yourself. I love drawing realistic drawings. If I had one wish, it would be for her to teach art in sixth. One of my favorite memories from Greenwood is when we went to the science museum. When we got there, we quickly became obsessed with the rock trading place. I forgot what it was called, but I know whenever I go there again, I'm gonna bring a rock. One fun thing I did there was we went to a place to learn about sneezes. My friends told me to go in front of somebody that was painted on the wall. So I did, and they opened the chute and they sneezed on me. That was disgusting, although it wasn't an actual sneeze, it sure felt like one. Came out like one too. Another thing we did there was when we went to a hot or cold show. The scientists there had liquid nitrogen and hot boiling water. He mixed them together and created dry ice. I know the scientists explained it, but I forgot the science behind it. Another thing he did was he put a ball inside the bucket of liquid nitrogen and let it sit for a while. After he let it sit, he threw it down and it broke. A rubber ball to a glass ball. The science behind this must be really, 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 really long. And if I'm being honest, I feel very accomplished writing this, so I'm just going to end this by saying bye.
Everything you can imagine is real. This is a quote by Pablo Picasso. I picked this quote because it reminded me of Miss Jocelyn. Miss Jocelyn is the art teacher and one of my favorite teachers ever. Every week I count down the days to art, and when it is art, whatever we're doing becomes the highlight of my school day. Whenever we get stuck, she lets us use our iPads for inspiration. All the cool things we do in art take a lot of time and patience, but if we get stuck, Miss Jocelyn helps us. I remember the time I was making clay Mario. The nose and eyes kept falling off, so I asked Miss Jocelyn for help. She taught me how to use scratch and attach. Here's a sentence for every letter in art. Art is amazing when the lines and shapes come together to make a masterpiece. Really fun whenever we get to work with our friends. The best because you get to use your creativity. I'm going to miss Miss Jocelyn and all my other teachers when I go to middle school, but I'm going to meet a lot more. That brings me to middle school. I feel excited and a little nervous. I'm excited about having lockers and not needing to walk in a line. I'm a little nervous about the harder math and being the youngest in the school. I don't think I'll like coming home at 4:45. Another thing I don't think I'll like is we won't have recess. But I think it'll be worth it because we'll have a lot longer lunch. But when I get used to middle school, maybe it'll be fun.
Do not give up. Hi, my name is Chloe. The time is always right to do what you're supposed to do by Martin Luther King Jr. I like this quote because you're always supposed to do what you're supposed to do on your time. Greenwood is like going to a carnival food trucks like Greenwood in Anoka. It is fun and exciting, and there's a lot of good food and a lot of fun and exciting, and there's good food and a lot of things to do. Thank you, Miss Weinbender, Mr. Zita, Miss Sullivan, Miss Angeli, Miss Olson, Miss Cody, and Dr. G. Miss Nicole, Miss Richmond, and Mr. Hanson are all teachers that were helpful. I want to thank Mina, who said, "Do not cry, it is okay when I get upset." My favorite memory is when we drank hot chocolate and watched Cool Runnings with Miss Sullivan. Right before winter break, the movie took place in Jamaica, and it was about bobsledding. We always did Secret Santa. It was really fun. I've worked so hard at Greenwood and have learned so much. I've learned that when you work hard, you can learn reading, writing, and counting up to 100s. I am excited about middle school, but I will miss Greenwood so much.
Hi, my name is Kate. And over my years at Greenwood, I have gotten a lot of memories and things that I will never forget. I learned to always look on the bright side and be happy. One thing I learned is that if you look on the bad side, bad stuff will happen and you will not enjoy yourself. So always look on the bright side and be happy. Greenwood has taught me to keep my face to the sunshine and the shadows will fall behind you by Walt Whitman. This reminds me about the MCAs, how I was looking at the bright side and not at the dark side. I was looking at the possibility of getting into enrichment and getting good grades. I was not looking at the bad side of getting bad grades, and I learned that if you look on the bright side, everything will always work out in the end. I have had amazing teachers over the years. I thank Miss Malou for letting us have fun all the time and making kindergarten very fun. I thank Mrs. Reisted for teaching really well and helping with everything. I thank Mrs. Weinrenner for being a really fun teacher, all while teaching really well. She used to make every day fun. I thank Mrs. Warden for being the funniest teacher I ever had, and she always used to entertain us in one way or the other. She was the one teacher I had that made me want to go to school. She even made recess more fun. I thank Mrs. Sullivan for teaching really well, and she also is a really entertaining teacher. I thank Mrs. Storvik for teaching a lot, and she also is nice when you don't get something correct. My time at Greenwood was like a roller coaster. It had many ups and downs. For every good time I had, there was a bad time. But in the Greenwood roller coaster, the good times are always way more recognizable than the bad times. And if you are ever feeling down, always remember that there will be a good time up ahead. One of the best times I ever had in my life happened in Greenwood. It happened on our snow tubing field trip in 3rd grade. It was wonderful going down the hill with my friends, and it was really funny when my friend's hat flew off his head and they could not find his hat to launch. This is one of the field trips I will never forget. In conclusion, Greenwood is one of the best places I have ever been, and this school will always hold a special place in my heart. Greenwood is a place that I've made a lot of memories in, and it will always be one of the most memorable places I have ever been in. I will never forget Greenwood Elementary School as one of the best schools ever. I remember a time once in Greenwood. I was in a bad mood because I just went into a fight with one of my friends. One of my classmates noticed and we started playing, and now we have a good friendship. This is a quote I found. The only way to make friends is by being one. By Ralph Waldo Emerson. I think that this quote means if you are nice to others, they will not respect you. So you don't make any new friends. And if you do respect others and make new friends, will be much happier through the years to come. A life lesson I learned at Greenwood was to always be kind to everybody because you don't know what they're going through. So always be kind to make their day a little bit better so they have a place to be happy. My favorite memories at Greenwood were going to the bowling alley in fourth grade with my friends, seeing who get the highest score while eating pizza. And if somebody wanted to join us, we would say yes. Or in fifth grade in the choir, singing fun songs and everybody's happy. And when we were performing and having a blast singing and going to JBS down learning to write checks and learning to feel older. Moving to middle school. Starting in middle school is going to be a new chapter in life that I will never forget. It's a new school with new people and new friends. It's going to be great, learning new things and not having to walk in line anymore. Even though I'm going away, it's exciting, but at the same time, it's sad. These things can make anybody's child so good. Even though I'm going to leave behind Greenwood, I will never forget this school because of how kind everybody was to each other. The staff helped me super much and learned me important things such as being kind to everybody at any given time. This new chapter in my life is going to be awesome, and I will never forget Greenwood Elementary.
My time at Greenwood was like a tree, living through good times and bad times. When I joined Greenwood as a kindergartner, I was like a little seed searching for nutrients. In first grade, I was like a sapling just learning how to grow up. Second grade was like a drought when COVID hit. To be honest, it was a pretty crappy time to be alive. We had to learn at home where we couldn't get to interact with anyone. Third grade was like a flood after the drought. In third grade, everyone was getting sick due to not wearing masks anymore. Fourth grade was like a time when there was enough nutrients and the tree grew a lot. One reason it was like this was because I got one of the best teachers, Miss Warden. And now finally fifth grade. My tree is and tall, blooming for years to come. When I came in, I had a mix of excitement and nervousness. In my bus, rumors spread about my teacher, Miss Sullivan, but hopefully most of them were wrong. I had a good final year to top off my time at Greenwood. Now I can only hope my time in middle school will be just as good as my time here. In my time at Greenwood, I've learned many lessons, but there are some that I'll never forget. When I was in fourth grade, my teacher was Miss Warden. She was known for being amazing. Whenever I came into her classroom, I felt a little bit better. She never felt bad, even when she almost burned down the whole school. Out of nowhere, she would call hot cocoa parties, and at the end of the year, she would throw candy at you if you're acting good. The lesson I learned that year was that you shouldn't feel negative about yourself. Next year, I was in Miss Sullivan's class, but all of my friends were in their other classes, such as Mr. Rindos and Mrs. Ray's. So I made new friends. The only people I knew were some kids named Vihan and Kathan. At the beginning of the year, I was mostly lonely, but then I started talking to other kids, and then they became my friends. So now I have a whole friend group again. The lesson is that no matter what, if you try hard enough, you can do anything. Even though a lot of this is pretty boring compared to a nice chess game, if I could, I would definitely do it all over again.
It always seems impossible until it's done. Nelson Mandela. This quote reminds me of the first time I went to Greenwood. It was a big school, and when I realized how the school day was 7 hours, I thought this was going to be impossible. And doing that for a whole 6 years, this is never going to an end. But yet that 6 years is coming to an end. But this quote makes me ready for the next year. First, my time at Greenwood was like a bus. The first time you hop on, you don't know what you're doing and you might feel scared. But the more times you go on, you might feel less scared and the more you learn. But the bus ride always ends, but there's a new bus ready for you. I will always remember that bus ride, and I've learned a lot from that bus ride, which will help me from the years to come. Next, the next bus ride is the bus to middle school. All the new things and awesome things, like being able to move classrooms, there's always a lesson I can learn in middle school. But the real thing I'm happy about is the privilege of being able to go in the hallway on my own without an adult. That is a privilege. Lastly, a lesson I learned at Greenwood was every time you'll get better. I will keep learning and keep getting better and better. I will not stop at middle school. I'll keep going through high school, college, and so on. One more reason. My fourth grade teacher, Mr. Zito, was one of my favorite teachers. He taught me many lessons. He taught me a lot of vocabulary. His teaching was really good and helped me understand better. He also helped me if I got something wrong. He would help me get better at that, and I got better and better. He also taught me in different ways, better ways. One last reason. I'll always remember that quote every time you'll get better. I will go to middle school and think this is only half of elementary school. I can do this. And I realize this quote is good. This quote is true. I'm graduating, but all the memories and all the years at Greenwood will not be forgotten. I will always remember Greenwood, and I will always think back of what I did here. And I will always remember my teachers here, and I will not forget them through middle school, high school, and college, and so forth.
Hi, my name is Chanupa Loudhawk. I moved to Plymouth 2 years ago and started at Greenwood in fourth grade. Moving is hard, but you get used to it. But when I started, I thought I was going to be here forever, but here I am graduating fifth grade and moving on to middle school. Optimism is the faith that leads to achievement. Nothing can be done without confidence. Thank you, Miss Sullivan. Thank you, Miss Sullivan, Mr. Zita, Miss Jocelyn, and Miss Canfield for helping me. Thank you, Mr. Zita, for making me laugh when I fell down. Thank you, Miss Sullivan, for keeping me going with math when I wanted to give up. Thank you, Miss Canfield, for helping me know more English than I did at my old school. Thank you, Miss Jocelyn, for keeping me positive with your words. These things help me have faith in myself, which leads me to the next thing. A life lesson I learned at Greenwood was having faith in myself. When I first came to Greenwood, I was not the type of person who put faith in herself until I made friends and got to know Mr. Zeta more, and he got to know me more and started to have faith in me. Roller coasters have ups and downs, just like my time at Greenwood. Greenwood's ups are the good people and supportive teachers. The downs have been being one of the only Native American kids here. But here's one more up. My teachers help me feel more included. The next thing I want to talk about are my memories. Even though I've only been here for 2 years, I have many great memories. My favorite Greenwood memories were the bowling field trip in fourth grade and making new friends. Last but not least is how I feel about moving on to middle school. I have lots of feelings about middle school. I'm happy that I'm starting a new grade, sad that I need to leave Greenwood, nervous that I might forget my locker code, and mostly worried because we're going to be the youngest again. I'm excited for my future even though I won't be here. I will miss Greenwood and teachers, but I promise to visit.
When you have bad days, what do you do? This is the question I've been trying to answer the first day I walked into the school. I realized that when you do have bad days, you have to push through and make the best of it. This is why Greenwood has been like chocolate. Sometimes it's sweet and sometimes it's bitter. You have sweet days and sometimes you have bitter days. Now that my time at Greenwood is almost over, I'm saying thank you to my fourth grade teacher, Mr. Zita. Mr. Zita is the definition of the best teacher ever. We would play games with him, and he always made you feel like you belonged. Even with his very mean humor, he was still one of the best teachers ever. I've learned a good lesson at Greenwood, and it is that not everything always comes easily. You have to work for something you want.
Even if you're having a bad time, just keep trying. And I'm excited for all the new fun times about going to middle school, but I'm nervous about the harder times. Now that I've spent so much time at Greenwood, I have a favorite memory, and that memory is my third grade tubing field trip. I can just imagine it. I'm flying down a hill with a breeze on my face. That is why tubing is my favorite memory at Greenwood. I've been through so much at Greenwood that I know the only thing that matters is to just keep trying.
Have you ever felt like you have been mad on the outside, like when you're fighting with a friend or have been upset with someone or something, but you're still always happy on the inside? First, my 7 years at Greenwood were so much fun. My favorite memory at Greenwood was when every year there was a fifth grade basketball game against the teachers. It is so fun to watch how all the punishments the teachers have and the kids did not have a single punishment. Us kids were chanting at the top of our lungs for the fifth graders. It was so fun to watch the fifth graders come back and win the game. I could not wait until it was my turn to do the fifth grade basketball game. Next, my time at Greenwood was like a state fair because when I walked in, there were so many kids talking that they did not notice other kids trying to get past them to go to their classes. I didn't know anyone until I found Lucas and Brightstar. When I found Lucas, I just knew that we'd be best friends for however long we would see each other. Lastly, you have to be able to accept failure to get better. Once I felt that way when I failed on a test, that was kind of important to me. So next time I had that same test on a different grade, I would work my heart out and ace it. One last reason. My first time seeing my art teacher was like seeing my favorite cousin. I knew that she would help. I just knew that she would fit in with me and what I like to do. And when I did my first art project with her, I just knew that she would help me so much to create my own style and opinion. Sometimes you just have to push through whatever comes your way, and that has happened to me where you just have to go through them and leave them in the dust. I felt like I belonged for 7 years, enjoying the time that I was given. So when I got the time, I used it properly, and I just knew I was doing it right.
Journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. Whenever I struggle on a math question, I realize that this isn't even anything. Once I go to middle school, that's when my journey begins. I thank my fourth grade teacher, Miss Warden, for being the best teacher ever. You have taught me so much, but at the same time, you also did so many fun things with the class. You are the funniest teacher I've ever had. I'd also like to thank my art teacher, Miss Jocelyn, for being the kindest teacher ever. My dream is to be an artist, and because of you, I think my dream is going to come true. You have taught me so many new art techniques, and that really opened my artist mind. When I go to middle school, I want to be remembered as a good friend who will always help others and listen to other people who are talking. Man, I still remember my first day in kindergarten. I still remember that on my first day at kindergarten, my teacher accidentally put me on the bus, but I knew that my mom was supposed to pick me up. I'm really going to miss Greenwood, but at least they planned so many memories that I'll never forget, like the Greenwood Grizzly Dash, staff versus students basketball game, all the field trips I've been to, and recess, because in middle school they don't have recess. I'm excited and nervous about going to middle school. I'm excited because I get to do different classes and I get to wake up a little late, but I'm nervous because what if I forget when my next class is or where my next class is? But I'm not that nervous because I'll still have my friends to look after me. I'm really going to miss Greenwood, but I'll never forget all the fun memories I've made at Greenwood.
You can't change what's going on around you or what's going on with you. When I came to USA, I had no idea what we were doing and how to speak English. When I went to school, I had no friend and I couldn't speak English. I couldn't play with my classmates and I had no idea what they were playing. When we were writing and reading, I couldn't catch up with them because they were so fast. This quote tells me to never give up. I'm going to say thank you to all of my teachers. The first one is Miss Wada. She helped me a lot when I was in fourth grade. The second one is Mrs. Sullivan. She helped me a lot with writing and reading, and she taught me to never give up. The third and the fourth are my English teachers. Their names are Mrs. Canfield and Mrs. Sherman. Mrs. Canfield helped me with writing, and Mrs. Sherman helped me with reading. I like all of my teachers. Something I remembered in Greenwood was the field trip in 4th and 5th grade. In 4th grade, we went to bowling. I remember when we went to New Hope bowling with pizza and we had some beverages. Bowling is hard to play, but if you don't give up and learn how, it is so fun. In 1st grade, we went to feed my starving children. We made food to give those who do not have things to eat. Have you ever climbed a mountain before? My time at Greenwood was like a big mountain. When I came from China, I did not know any English and I had no friends. When I was in 4th grade, I finally made 2 friends. One of them is from Japan and she did not know any English either, just like me in 3rd grade. Another one is the one that helped me. They are my best friend. But when I was in 5th grade, I only had one friend because the other ones are not in the same class as me. But I made some new friends too. However, do not give up because when you keep trying, you can do it. Just like bowling, bowling is hard to play, but if you don't give up and learn how, it will be so fun. So don't give up.
Did you know up to 500,000 modern butterflies die due for migration? Just because they might as well stay where they are didn't stop them from trying something new. They know they have a chance to live if they migrate. Because life is a journey, and just because something is fun doesn't mean you shouldn't try something new. This describes how I treasure Greenwood, but I'm still excited for middle school next year. To me, Greenwood's like a daisy. Each petal holds a dear memory. And in the middle, you might as well write Greenwood. For example, the first day of kindergarten would be a dear memory. However, at Greenwood, everything's not pitch perfect. Every good thing comes with something bad, because if every day was a good day, you wouldn't have a good day. So the bad memories are like a stem. Honestly, overall, Greenwood is awesome in a school I won't forget. I feel happy and awe-inspired for middle school next year, because of the new people I get to meet. I also can't wait to meet friends that are a little bit older than me. I can't wait for this new experience, but I'll still miss Greenwood. I learned throughout my years at Greenwood not to care. I know this might sound bad, but not caring can prevent you from feeling sad or disappointed. For example, you feel sad if you lost a game. However, if you don't care, you don't feel sad. What I'm trying to say is, don't care about the small problems. If you think about it, we encounter so many problems in our lives, and if you care about every single one of them, you won't enjoy life to the fullest. I'm sure you heard this before, but don't care what other people think. This is something I will never forget and I'm sure will help me next year. I want to say thank you to all my teachers, whether you still remember me or not. I also want to say thank you to all the teachers who I have not had. All the help our teachers give us are very helpful. However, I want to say thank you to Mr. Zita, Miss Warden, and Miss Dawson. Thank you, Miss Warden, for always making me laugh. I still remember the promise in the beginning of the year that I'd make a new friend. Thank you for making me friends with my BFF again. Thank you, Miss Dawson, for always supporting me and encouraging me all these years. You are an amazing teacher. Last but not least, thank you, Mr. Zita, for always helping me, even though it was hard to teach during COVID. You gave me an amazing, memorable year, and thank you again. My speech is almost done, and I will always remember the memories I made, like how in the Science Museum field trip, everyone sang on the way back. Throughout all I wrote, you probably noticed everything I said has something in common. Life is a journey, and just because something is fun doesn't mean you shouldn't try something new. Lastly, I want to be remembered as a daring, courageous, considerate, and enjoyable person. I will never forget Greenwood, and thank you for everyone who helped my time at Greenwood be astounding.
Starting a new thing is not as bad as it seems. An example is moving schools and moving states, having new friends and learning new things. My time at Greenwood Elementary has been good and sad at the same time. When I came here, I thought I didn't know where my class was. Then I walked to my classroom. I thought I would have no friends. But on the first day, I had 3 friends. The next day, I got to my classroom with a friend whose name was Yashvin. The next morning, I went on the bus to school and played with a group with James, Thomas, and Gray, who are still my friends right now. Next week, I lost my cat, but we got a dog. A new beginning. I am fine about going to middle school. On the first half, I think it will be fun.
I think it will not be that bad. On the other hand, it's kind of scary going to a new school. I kind of feel like it's a little more fun. Thank you everybody in the class for supporting me this year. Even though I haven't been here for even a school year, I still feel like I got all the culture from Greenwood like a normal student.
My time at Greenwood was like a plant. Sometimes you didn't get as much sunlight as at the good times. The good times are like having school events after school, seeing friends, staff, and family. Also, the bad times are like having long school days, but don't get me started on the bus rides. The screaming is so annoying, the talking, the yelling, and also the crying. As you can see, I don't like the bus rides. It doesn't matter if you always look on the positive side and never the negative side. Even for the times I've been at Greenwood, many teachers had care for me, like Miss Sullivan, the person who makes everyone feel special, Miss Sullivan, the teacher who makes every activity fun, Miss Sullivan, the teacher that makes me feel happy. Another thank you is to Miss Canfield for smiling at me and asking me how my day was and always waving at me and asking me how it was. Always fun. Thank you, Mrs. Sullivan, and thank you, Mrs. Canfield. And another teacher that I want to thank is Miss Hurwitz. I love going to PE because I knew that we were going to have a good time because we would always play fun games like capture the football. Thank you, Mrs. Hurwitz, for making PE fun. I hope I have a PE teacher like you in middle school. What I'm looking forward to middle school is having lockers because I always saw people decorating their lockers and making it look more fancy. Another thank you is to another thing that I'm looking forward to is going from class to class. I'm happy that I'm not going to have one homeroom teacher. Another thing that I'm looking forward to is in middle school is meeting new people because there's not going to be the same people from elementary school. My time at Greenwood was really fun throughout this adventure this year. Greenwood made me a better person, and Greenwood also helped me be more kind, respectful, and Greenwood helped me with the biggest thing ever, my confidence. I can't thank Greenwood staff more. On the first day of May, when I was playing outside in the warm weather, I realized that summer was nearing and school was almost over. I had to go to middle school next year. I couldn't believe how fast the year went by. I made so many memories at Greenwood, and I have to say goodbye already. But that's when I realized that you have to embrace change and cherish memories. I feel good thinking about all those memories. My time at Greenwood was like a quest, journeying through unknown territories, encountering new experiences, and taking in various knowledge. I still remember the first day I went to Greenwood. I was super nervous about what Greenwood would be like, but I made friends very quickly. Since then, I've made so many memories with my new friends. My favorite memory was in the last week of 4th grade, when my class took a field trip to a bowling center. We stayed there for the whole day, we drank soda, and had pizza, and it was amazing. Everybody had so much fun that day. I feel sad to leave Greenwood and all these memories. That is one main reason why I don't want to go to middle school. I also feel nervous because I'll be surrounded by people, places, things I don't know. But I keep telling myself not to worry because the people I love will be there to support me all the way through. I don't know how middle school could go, but Greenwood was extraordinary and I'll never forget it. People in Greenwood taught me so many things other than school subjects. Mrs. Jocelyn taught me how to use my creative mind. Mrs. Warden gave me confidence and made school so much fun. She made everything so exciting for everybody in her class. Thank you to all of my teachers and friends for helping me feel like I belong. I'll remember Greenwood Elementary for the rest of my life.
There was once a small kingdom next to a tall mountain. In this mountain lived a giant, terrifying dragon. Once every year, it would ask for one person from the kingdom as a sacrifice to eat, or it would destroy the whole land. One day, a courageous knight went to kill the dragon. The battle lasted for hours, but at last, the dragon was slain and the knight was celebrated as a hero. I've heard many stories like this, but I've always thought that I couldn't be as brave or strong to save a whole kingdom. And that's true. I'm only a kid. Also, we don't have dragons in our world. What I didn't realize was that even though I don't have gigantic problems like those fairy tales, I had a lot of small obstacles that I got through, and I'd like to share some. Here's my story. A drawing. My time at Greenwood was like a drawing. My drawing started in kindergarten.
I remember the first day was so scary, but I made good friends and it was overall a good time. Then there was first grade. First grade was a roller coaster. I bet you know why. COVID-19 was competing for a 6-year-old. It messed up my drawing. It left me bored and sad, but with help from my parents, I got through it. I spent a lot of my time playing with them since I'm an only child. Second grade was calm again. I remember one time my teacher put me on the wrong bus even though I knew which one to be on. That definitely terrified me. Third grade, oh yeah, I wasn't here. I moved to a whole different continent, specifically Europe. I had to learn a language that I had no idea how to speak. No big deal. Jokes aside, I don't really remember much, so I assume it was pretty boring. But fourth grade was a blast. One time, the whole grade had a water balloon fight. Actually, it was more like a war. Very savage. But behind that fun, my Greenwood drawing sat and collected dust. My first semester of 5th grade was in Rome. I had an awesome teacher and awesome friends. I'll definitely miss all of them. I hope I can visit my best friend from Rome again. My second semester was here in Greenwood. A lot of things are different, but a lot of things were the same and really nostalgic. It was nice, but I definitely forgot a few things. I forgot what kind of plan I had for my drawing. My friends helped me fit back in. It was a bit hard, but definitely fun to finish my art and transform it from a sad, crappy little sketch to a beautiful masterpiece. All throughout the creation of this drawing, I occasionally filled my schedule with things to do, with no time to do nothing. For example, imagine it's a Sunday. Today, I'm going to do my homework, and then I'll go to a museum, and then a park, and then, oh, is that some optional homework that I don't have to do? Well, I guess it's better than doing nothing. But I don't think that's really healthy. One of my favorite quotes is "Don't underestimate the value of doing nothing" by A.E. Milne in The Adventures of Winnie the Pooh. This is probably because when I'm not going crazy with doing random things that I don't have to do, I like doing nothing. Another reason I like this quote is because I really like Winnie the Pooh. My last but definitely not least reason I really like this quote is because doing nothing is actually really good for you. It helps reduce stress and anxiety levels, and you can be more productive. Also, you can make better decisions. In 6th grade, I'll try to do a small amount of homework every day so I can relax more and improve my already collapsing mental health. Speaking of 6th grade, I'm really excited for it, especially the lockers. They look so fun to decorate with like posters and stuff. But I'm also really nervous, not about teachers or friends or anything about people, but I'm scared that I will get lost in the big building or be late for class. I know that I am pathetic. I'm also kind of sad that we don't have a recess in middle school, but I think the electives make up for it. Overall, I'm really optimistic about 6th grade. I don't know how middle school could go, but I know that I'll be ready, get over all the problems ahead, and I'll have a lot of fun doing it. Thank you.
My time at Greenwood Elementary School was like a circus. Bad and good things happened at Greenwood. I remember walking in the building very nervous and a little excited because it was my first time walking into the building. Greenwood's building. You never know what will happen at Greenwood. For example, there's a carnival every month for the entire year and kids pulling fireworks. First day was long, fun, and crazy, not knowing where to go. But when I got more into the school year, it felt like a 2-hour day because it's fun and more freedom compared to my other school. Now that there is less than a week left, 5th grade for me, I hope I enjoy these last memories with Miss Sullivan. My favorite memories at Greenwood Elementary School was when I walked into the building for the first time. It felt like a circus to me because everyone was rushing to their classrooms or getting breakfast. That's why it's my favorite memory. To me, Greenwood was like a smoothie. Just one small mistake and you might not like your smoothie. Just like if you make a mistake, what you do every day, you might become mad and you might not be mad. I feel very sad, nervous, and excited leaving Greenwood. New chapter in life is hard to move away from year after year. Moving to middle school, in my opinion, has more freedom because you don't have to walk in a line like you've done in elementary, and when you're done early with lunch, you could go outside depending on how long it takes you to finish lunch. I don't think Greenwood is a school because there's lots of freedom and fun. Now that I've learned for 2 years at Greenwood, I'm finally ready for middle school.
My time at Greenwood was like a book. From the past 7 years, this tale has been a really fun and huge part of my life. But now it's finally coming to an end. I had a lot of really fun experiences at Greenwood, from the Greenwood Fun Run every year to the snow tubing in 3rd grade and the bowling party in 4th grade. I loved all these events, and I'm gonna miss all of these field trips and parties and stuff so much that I'm always gonna remember these fun things that I'm never gonna forget. I would like to thank a few of my teachers, like Mrs. Jocelyn, for all that she has done for me and everyone. She is always so kind and supportive and thoughtful to all. She makes our class more fun and a better place. Another person I would like to thank is Mrs. Hurwitz, because whenever it's a PE day, I'm always so excited because I know that whatever game we play, it's always going to be really, really fun. And soon I'm going to meet new teachers in middle school that might be nice and supportive as Mrs. Jocelyn and Mrs. Hurwitz. I think middle school is going to be scary and fun at the same time. And although middle school is really different from elementary school, I think middle school will be great. But still, middle school is way harder and more stressful than elementary school. Like way more homework and so many deadlines, lockers, and so much more. But middle school does have its perks, like waking up really late, staying up really late. You also get to bring your iPad home, plus you have way more freedom. And although I learned like a gazillion things at Greenwood, I think I'm gonna learn even more in this new chapter of my life. My time at Greenwood will be unforgettable. Through all of these 7 years, Greenwood has been with me for a while. And although I learned a lot of things at Greenwood, like math, reading, science, and so much more, Greenwood has also made me a better person. I will never forget you, Greenwood.
My time at Greenwood is like the first time you read a certain book series. You don't really know what's going to happen or who anyone is, but you have to keep going to see what happens. As you go on, you find out what the book is about. You can start predicting what's going to happen next, and you start getting to know people better. When I first went to Greenwood, I didn't know anyone except for my friend who was a grade above me, but I made new friends, and most of the time, they were still my friends, even after summer break. Well, most of the time, I couldn't contact them over the summer. I'm so clever that sometimes I don't understand a single word of what I'm saying. Oscar Wilde. I think this quote means that even if you think you're smart in one subject, you still might not know this much about space like this person, or that much about science like that other person. You might do well in math tests, but what about science tests or reading? I may know a lot about Pokemon, but I have no idea how to make chocolate or how to sew. My favorite memories in Greenwood are from the last few days of school in 4th grade, from when we went bowling and had mustache day a few days earlier. I had the best teacher, Mr. Wynn, who had awesome books for read aloud, fun activities, and I had the best class too, with a few exceptions. The 4th grade bowling trip was the best field trip ever, with so much pizza and soda and of course bowling. Mustache Day is the day when Mr. Wynn let us pick mustaches from his pile of fake mustaches and then wear it for the rest of the day. If I had a choice to go back to 2022 when 4th grade first started, I would take that offer immediately. I still have so many questions about middle school, but at this point, I just want to get it over with because we'll be going on the bus to school at about 8:30 and going home at 4:30. I am a bit curious about how the classes and how they'll go, or if different grades have the same lunchtime. My friends and family have taught me about middle school, but I still don't think I'm ready for the stress of the homework, tests, and my karate too. I don't think I'll ever forget my favorite moments at Greenwood, my teachers, the field trips, or any of the tedious and boring writing projects that we had to do. And I'm happy about that because those are part of the memories I made, even if some of them are more boring than watching paint dry for 10 hours straight.
My name is Catherine. Is it just me or does time just fly by? Here today, I'm going to share with you why Greenwood will always have a place in my heart. My time at Greenwood was like the hair growing on my head. Over the past 7 years I've been here, Greenwood has grown alongside me and taught me many things. I've had many great experiences at Greenwood. For example, snow tubing, the wax museum, the bowling party, and finally this graduation. I'll miss these awesome experiences. I've learned many lessons in life, but I think all we need to do is cherish the moment. Time goes by way too fast, and we don't take time to notice the fun moments of life. Next, I want to thank some of my teachers I've spent time with at Greenwood. I thank Mrs. Jocelyn and Mrs. Bloom for always being so kind and supportive. Although they are the best teachers I've ever had, I will be able to meet brand new teachers in middle school. Speaking of middle school, I feel both excited and nervous about it. To start, middle school is like a new chapter in my life, new friends and a new environment. This may seem exciting for other people, but for me, it will feel very different. Locker combinations, new people, trying to fit in, and keeping up with deadlines are only some of the many challenges we will face. It feels scary to move from the oldest in the school to the youngest. Although I have learned a lot, this new chapter in my life will let me learn even more. My time here at Greenwood will be engraved in myself forever. Through the kindness that spreads like the smell of pollen that spills into the air, Greenwood has helped me grow and become a better person. I've learned and grown so much, I'm ready to finally move on.
Have you ever felt like you won't ever reach your destination? My time at Greenwood is like a roller coaster because actually no wait. My time at Greenwood felt like decades, but now it all feels like it was only a few months. It's been 7 years if we don't count holidays such as winter break, summer break, and Memorial Day, and weekends. Most of my life has been spent at Greenwood, waiting till I finally get to wake up for middle school. My adventure at Greenwood is like a roller coaster because you go up slowly as you go older, and on the last day of school, it goes crashing down. Though it was a long ride, it was such a fun experience. But before we talk about the end, let's talk about what happened over the years. My favorite teachers are Mr. Merchant, Mr. Wen, Miss Sullivan, and Miss Rystad. I love Mr. Merchant because she's so good at being a teacher and was so flexible during COVID-19, which must have been very hard. I love Miss Rystad because she was so kind and even went to my house, which was very kind of her. I love Mr. Wen because he's so funny and made everyone laugh. And I love Miss Sullivan because she tries to make our lessons fun and flexible. Next, let's talk about my favorite days. My favorite day is in 3rd grade during tubing and in 4th grade during Mustache Day. I love Mustache Day because we got to take pictures and back to the other kids, and everybody looks so funny. I love tubing because we had so much fun and we got to go plummeting down the hill. Even though it felt like forever, I reached my destination. I've spent so much of my time at this school, and it's been a very unforgettable experience. I'll never forget my time at the school. I will never forget the field trips, the picnics, and most importantly, all the knowledge that I've learned from my amazing and evil teachers.
You like water slides, but my time at Greenwood was like a water slide. So fast yet so fun. I remember the first day of school. I was so thrilled for a new place I had never been to, just as I would have been excited to go down that water slide. As I looked inside the doors of Greenwood, I could see kids running to their classrooms and teachers welcoming students in. It was very chaotic, to say the least. My favorite memory was when I went to Biztown. It had been talked about for weeks. The experience was so cool to see all the businesses spring up to life and kids piling in after the other and getting many fun things. My time at Greenwood would not be the same without some of the wonderful teachers that work at Greenwood. My favorite teacher was Mr. Zeta, who was always cracking jokes and making new fun challenges like the Valentine's Olympics and Magic Scrap. My favorite specialist was art, thanks to Miss Jocelyn. She always had exciting projects and always had a positive outlook on things. Now that I'm nearing the end of the school year, just like that water slide, I can't wait for many brand new opportunities in middle school and the new school year to come around, as well as getting new lockers and new teachers. The lesson I learned at Greenwood was life goes fast, so enjoy it while you can. Thank you.
So that concludes our speeches for the day. At 11 o'clock, check-in can begin in the main office. Please make sure that you bring a photo ID. Our ceremony will start at 11:30, so we have that as well till about 12:15-ish. So afterwards, we have a picnic, which is fingers crossed, hopefully outside. If not, our plan B is in our gymnasium. So let's give these kids a huge round of applause because they nailed it. Yeah. All right, everyone. Thanks for joining us.
Bye, thank you.
Bye, thank you.
Thank you.